2023 it will be tested. In all likelihood, it'll be required.
Yeah.
Has the water been tested with PFAS?
No. Not in 2022, it will be tested in 2023.
23, apparently the DNR is.
Where exactly did that tree happen?
I believe right at the intersection, right, Pat? Right at the intersection of County L and the, CN Railroad. And there was derailment involved, so there was still.
All right, any other questions on sanitary district number 3?
If there's none, move on. Next item is discussion of landfill budget. Flip that page over. Mostly what this is discussing at the landfill. Testing fees required. Probably forever, who knows, testing.
Do you want me to?
Yes, please.
Okay. No funds were transferred except for the allowable interest in the landfill budget to the 2023 general budget. Revenues increased due to the interest rate increase. Interest is not transferred from the landfill operating account, only from the landfill reserve account and the landfill CD, which is allowed by town code. And the only true expenses are also increased because of the testing required by the DNR.
Questions on the landfill budget? Oh, yeah.
How much money is that in them on fund?
Well, it depends which fund, there's several funds, you have to know.
What's the question?
Question was, how much is in each of these funds?
The total we have.
Look at where is the report from tonight? Something big.
Do you have it? Would you like to go ahead and read it from the?
The treasurer's report? Okay. The landfill checking account, currently has $6,111.35, although I had to pay roughly $5,800 in testing fees this month. LGIP, which is the operating account, which the town cannot take any funds from, has a balance of $352,975.54. The landfill reserve account has a balance of $132,266.49, which also cannot be touched or used by the town. The interest, however, is transferred quarterly from that account. And the landfill certificate of deposit has a balance of $678,000, which the interest is transferred off from the club.
And is the permit for that property, the original permit that was issued for the landfill, that was issued to the town, correct?
No. This is from these funds are from the landfill on 120.
Right, but when that landfill was originated, when it started back in the early 80s,
Not by the town.
so who's got the liability for that landfill?
The current operator, they operate all closed landfills. Their business is mostly operating closed landfills, so that's managing the testing, cutting the grass, getting rid of the leachate, if any, and monitoring all of their other.
So the town doesn't do it, but they hire somebody to do it?
No, that's part of the owner of the property, not the town.
Okay.
They're responsible.
So the town has no liability to this landfill at all?
No.
Not on 120.
One by the airport, yes, because that was a town dump, 30, 40 years ago. other questions on the landfill budget 2023? All right, next one is the discussion regarding the county East Troy budget, or for operating budget for the whole county.
Question back there.
Oh, yes.
So the proposed budget, interest earned from the landfill is your 12,400. Based on the numbers that Kim just gave me, and just a rough estimate, you're at like $1.2 million. How are we getting 12,400 in interest earned on $1.2 million?
The total is 1.17 million, and only, well, half of that is in a CD. The other one's the LGIP, that'd be a question for Kim, how that operates.
Yeah, the interest transferred, from the CD is around 900 a month. And then from the quarterly, from the reserve account, is probably 600.
A month.
Okay,
Does that help? Or do you have another question?
That's fine.
all right, move on to the, county East Troy 2023 proposed budget, at 1.9 million. And, Kim did some calculations here, for us on roughly what that means after it gets through the tax bill or whatever.
The mill $2. You have a $300,000 property, then the increase is $48. The total town mill rate will be $2.49 per thousand. The village's mill rate is approximately 2.4% higher, because theirs is 5.96%, or $5.96 per thousand. So ours is less than half. Okay. Intergovernmental revenues, there's a slight increase due to transportation aids, because we've been very proactive with our road maintenance in the last couple of years. Licenses and permits, there's a slight increase because of the increase in building permits. Public charges for services, there's an increase in the garbage collection charges. It is not income to the town because it is a direct expense. Everything collected is paid directly for the service. Intergovernmental charges, there's a slight increase due to wages. Miscellaneous revenues, that increase in interest rates. And then from the loan, there's an attachment in your packet that gives a breakdown of what our proposed loan amount is. I'm not sure how many pages, it's after the expenses. And you can see what the breakdown is to get to $1,181,212. You want me to continue with expenditures, or does anybody?
Yeah, any questions on revenue? Yes.
Why, the water patrol and law enforcement, for trying to, make it easy answer, why is it looks like it's cut to about half, why is it going down to?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
For the water patrol grant law enforcement, from 22 to 23, it looks like it's decreasing by about half. I'm just wondering why. Under intergovernmental revenues.
The grant went down because we could no longer, write off the depreciation from the boat that was purchased.
There's no problem, wasn't that, how do you collect that money, and what is it for?
Snow plowing, we charge $35 per homeowner for on private roads. They pay a flat $35 fee on their tax bills, but only on private roads.
Don't you think that would be low?
It's extremely low, it's a very good deal for those who live on private roads.
We,
Mr. Rice.
we look at market rates and see if we can up that on our end.
I think so.
That would have to be done
By
like
now.
tonight, because I have to have everything on the tax bills by December 2nd.
It is discussed every year.
When was the last time it was increased?
A couple of years.
Probably 5 to 6 years
So
ago.
discussion every year just means we walk with it, we talk, and then do the same thing.
We discuss it, see if it's, whether or not it should be raised. And, most of
Should
the
we
time,
have a private contractor look at it and say what they charge?
we know about what, but nobody's gonna, sit there and lay it out and say.
Is it something we should continue doing? Should we let the private contractor do that work and we walk away from it?
You could,
We're not making any money on it.
you could, all you do is break even on it, you can't make
I
money.
bet we're not even.
But
making
a lot of those people that live on the private roads are also lake residents who pay higher rates for their.
I understand that they pay higher rates because they have to let you hear their taxes according to.
Yep, we have that discussion every year, and, Todd, about the same opinion that we've had from right before. Is it time to maybe kick it up a little bit? Probably, but again, it's gotta be, it's gotta be to a point where we gotta say we are not making money on it. Okay, that's against the law. What also against the law is just to not charge people on private roads if we plow it. And we plow all of them, or is there a couple we don't? All of them. So, yeah, and some of them get, the pickup truck and some of them.
So how do we charge for seminary roads?
How do we?
Yeah, is that $35?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd have to look.
Pretty cheap.
Well-
That's a long road, $35.
Right, but there's also 50 regular town residents in the back there, and some of those are. So they have to get there. True.
You have to follow up and drive there, I guess.
True. Right, questions
Any more questions on
on
revenue?
revenue? Which page is that? Good. All right, expenditures. Maybe I won't note this, you gotta keep this in mind, all of their town employees, the 3-year contracts were up this year, so we negotiated new contracts, so obviously inflation impacts those. And then almost all the utilities, based on what we were told from the utilities, what to expect for an increase, okay, that's factored in here too. So really, most of it is really an inflationary, deal.
Town board, there's a decrease, because, as you now know, our meetings are streamed, and our Wi-Fi's been updated in the building so that it actually works. Municipal court, the TIPS program was purchased in 2022. Now only maintenances and annual maintenance charges is for TIPS. Legal fees, there was a slight increase in our hourly, rate for legal advice. Clerk of court there's increased wages, but the current clerk of court does not keep the health insurance. That's why there's a savings there. Audit, there was a cost increase. Clerk treasurer, salary increase, and, the website itself, but we should be good there from now on. That was included in the 2022 budget. Elections, one of the items that's, recommended for tonight is purchasing Badger books to run elections. Computer costs, maintenance and software support have increased. Wages for deputy clerk treasurer increased. And I would wanna make one note that the increases in health insurance premiums are all being absorbed by the town employees. So it did not affect the town portion of what's paid for health and life insurance. Treasury, we put in $1,000 for tax collection assistance. We hire a part-time person to help us with the weeks in December for tax collection. The property assessment, we're gonna talk about that tonight at the regular meeting, but that increase is due to a market revaluation. We're currently at 73% of value. The state requires us to be within 10% of 100% of value, otherwise they will force us. If you're out of compliance at 100% value, they force you to have a full reval if you're 5 years or more out. We are 3 years or out, so that's why we're doing the market reval next year. The town hall building, there's increased cleaning costs, and the DPW is going to be remodeling the upstairs unused and
It's bad. was an old bathroom when the school was in service.
Yeah.
That's going to
And it has-
be read down into storage.
Yep. And then the town hall parking lot, needs to be repaved, because I'm sure many of you saw last Tuesday and tonight. Insurance, there's slight increases, but our workers' comp rating has decreased, so we may have received a rebate there. General government includes the amounts, that we support 2 cemeteries that are in the town. If the cemetery associations decided not to keep maintaining them, the town would have to take over the maintenance of the 2 cemeteries, and that would be far more expensive than the $6,000 that we budgeted there. Public safety, obviously their wages increase, and slight increases for utilities and fuel, et cetera. The retirement rate paid by the town is 13.22%, but the balance of the employees the town only pays 6.8%. This is slightly higher than last year's rate. Water patrol, there is a decrease. We're hoping that with more staffing, we'll have more coverage for the lake this coming year, 2023. Fire and rescue, the fire is down, but rescue has an increase of $123,089. More calls, more staffing. Right, Barb? Yes. Building inspection is an increase. There's also an increase for revenue there, and however, the building inspector earns 80% of his total collections of permits. The town gets 20% of those collections, which is for minor admin functions. DPW, wages increased. Also for inflation, utilities and fuel. New and old roads, there is the last page of your handout. Explains what road work will be taking place this year. From Carter School, Stewart School, First and Second Avenue, Meadville Avenue, culverts, gravel, and then the old roads is seal coating, the hot patching, and the crack filling. Snow plowing, slight increase in wages. Our full-time DPW workers oftentimes will take comp time instead of overtime, so that's a cost saving for the town. The garbage and recycling cost, the garbage cost, it's a wash. The fees that are collected are paid out to John's Disposal, that are our garbage company. The recycling portion includes a $200 donation to the county for the Clean Sweep program, and $550 for the compost site inspection. Parks, there was a $2,000 increase to Booth Lake. And the boat launch, we're going to be doing some maintenance on the parking lot at the launch and some restriping, so that if you come to launch a boat but you have another car coming with you, there'll be a few spots for those other cars to park, instead of saying they can't park in our lot, because we only allow
Vehicles with trailers.
Yep.
Or if you come to launch a kayak and you have a rack on your car, you don't need a trailer spot, you'll be able to pull in one of those other spots and save a spot for a trailer. It'll be more effective.
Yep. And then, debt payments, there was an increase for 2023, but it should be stable for 2024, because one of our bigger loans will be paid off next year. And if the new loan payments will be less than that payment, there'll be a net effect there. And I just had a couple minor other things, because I saw this really nice handout or article in the paper that the village did about it was on the front page of the paper about the village's budget. The village administration, they have 4 full-time employees and 3 part-time employees doing what the same with us 3 here do. Let's see, the town administration office will have 3 full-time employees after January 1st. And then in the article, it said that the Village of East Troy's wages for 41.1% of their budget. The town's wages are only 25% of our budget, and for benefits, including retirement, health, and life, the village's budget was 17.4% of their budget, where the town's is only 7% of our budget. That's all I have.
Okay, questions on the 2023 proposed budget? Questions?
Yeah.
John?
Under public safety and under the police department, I understand we're budgeted for 6 officers, is that correct?
Yes.
And over the last several months, we've only had 3, maybe 4. Where does that extra money go that normally would be paying an officer to patrol our streets, where does that money go?
Well, the money, if it's not spent, is still there. We are allowed by law to do a transfer of it under. I don't think we're to that point yet, till we get to the final end of the year, where the numbers come out. But yeah, they were like staff for a lot of years, so there is definitely gonna be, even though there was a lot of overtime, it's still gonna be under, I guess, Chief, that's about what you see too, correct?
A lot of times those funds are carried over to the next year's budget. It's not like they're spent specifically on anything specific.
They
Just
stay in the
carry
police
over.
department's budget though, right?
I would say anyone, John said, do they stay in the police department budget? I think where the year ends up, that's general fund.
Yep, it all goes to the general fund to carry over.
John, did you second that? Jenny, do you have your hand up? No. Okay. Questions on the 2023 proposed budget? Yes.
I know you said that with water, or sorry, fire protection and ambulance protection together, there's fewer fires but more, rescue support. There's no cuts in fire protection, is there, with that change?
No, the services are not decreased on either end. We just need to respond to far more EMS calls than we do fire.
Okay.
Those numbers are
Not a
very
reallocation.
Do I answer your question?
Yeah.
Just tell me if I'm wrong, there's a set amount of boats that can be on the lake at one time for launch.
The public launch, when it was created, some years ago, the DNR did a survey on the lake to come up with a number that said what would be the correct number of boats not to overrun the lake, but still provide public, or, proper public access. And it kept the 29 spots, 28 spots, plus 28 spots. So, when they first,
Now there's the floor more or whatever for the other vehicles.
well, yeah, that hasn't been built yet, that's for vehicles that do not have trailers. A second person comes to go in a boat that the person has a trailer, or they have a kayak on top of their car. We're gonna build a little, we're gonna have an area where they can park in that parking lot. Because right now, the 28 spots, the 29 spot is
29 plus the one above for handicap.
at the end, yes. So, that's how that came up, but yeah, that's correct.
And it's still gonna be able to be full, it's availability for what spots are there, but a lot of people, if someone finishes in the morning and their family comes out, you know, it's to accommodate people to be able to still use the boat and still near the launch.
And one of the things that changed in 2017 was that if somebody needed to launch a boat but had a off-site place to park their car and their trailer, they were welcome to launch the boat and go park elsewhere. So,
They're still paid, but we can park there, that was a change.
Is there a limit to how many boats can be launched a day though?
Originally, there was 28,
Right, but now?
okay, now, these,
they don't.
they don't, yeah, they
As long
don't.
as
They don't
the
charge.
parking question is where are those, 28, where are the other people put their car in trailers?
Well, yeah, there is no other place, really, you can't park in any of the roads down
There's
there.
no limit on the number of people that launch.
Right, parking lot could be full, you had a couple people from the lake, say, I'm putting my boat in, and they go home. They still have to pay, but they can put the boat in and take the trailer.
Or to park in a private area, you know, somebody knows somebody who has a driveway and they can still get to that boat.
But they can't park on Walrus Road.
Right.
They can't park on Highway 20.
Correct.
Same Road.
So then the cars still have to pay also, correct?
Yeah, anybody that launches has to pay.
If they don't launch but they park in those new spots, will they have to pay the parking fee?
It would only be a launch fee, it's not a parking fee.
Right,
Only launch fee, no.
yeah, still be a launch fee if they're launching there.
Yeah, if you have a kayak.
But which is paddleboard or a kayak that you can walk down to the water.
And you're not paying?
You're
Because
not
you're
watching.
parking, well, you're throwing your kayak in.
But that's not a launch, so.
So the kayakers get it free if they have a spot.
I don't know, I wouldn't say we'd have to
No,
look at that.
kayakers will pay as well,
Yeah.
if they're
Because they're
parking in
launch.
one of the additional
If you
slots.
They only pay $8, they can't reduce the
Okay,
fee.
yeah, so that doesn't change.
Anybody that's launching a vessel of any kind is going to pay. And it's still to be determined if people just parking and joining others will have a fee. So grandma and grandpa and the grandkids all join, that's to be determined yet, but every vehicle that's launching a vessel will pay.
Okay, questions 2022 budget? Okay,
We wanna touch briefly on the borrowing
sure.
list, if anybody has any questions about what we're borrowing for.
Second last page, and then with the levy limits, you know, what's allowed for levy increase is 0, and then based on a worksheet from Department of Revenue and Kim, takes into account new construction and borrowing. So in effect, the levy limit is due is Mickey borrowing. All right, so you wanna, do it all?
Badger books, 6 electronic poll books, at a cost of $15,200. The revale of the intermarket revale is $15,000. Town hall buildings, the parking lot hasn't been done in over 18 years, I believe, that's what Todd and I figured out. Squad replacement and equipment, $57,200. Fire and capital rescue expenses, $12,204, rescue $17,313, DPW equipment, $5,000. New roads that are all listed there, for a total of $651,600. Old roads, including, bridge inspections and the Beulah Heights, road bridge repair, $134,695, and then $20,000 for the Fort Launch parking lot. Anybody have any questions on any of those items?
What exactly does the electronic poll book do?
Instead of having the paper poll books like we do, it's a tablet. It's never connected to the internet. It's just, it has everybody's information downloaded. It will increase accuracy, speed. You won't have to go to a certain one for A through K, L through Z. I must have said that 5 million times last Tuesday. You'd be able to go to any one, so the flow would be much greater, more accurate.
Reconciliation after the election,
Will save me probably about 60 hours of work, which is what I still have to do to complete last Tuesday's election.
It also increases the safety of the county, so that it is never exposed to the internet, so there can be no manipulation of that. And being that it's on a flash drive, that flash drive then becomes much easier to transport down to county to relay the accuracy of.
No, the flash drive does not go to county, it's downloaded into the WISPO system. So currently, I have to take the poll book, and I don't know if you recall looking at it, but everybody has a barcode. I have to individually scan every barcode into the system of the people who voted. I have to designate whether they voted in person or whether they voted in absentee. Okay, the electronic, the Badger book, will have all that information in it. I download all that information to a flash drive. I take that flash drive, I put it into WISPO, download all the information into WISPO, and it will automatically recognize that so-and-so voted in person, so-and-so voted absentee. It'll automatically reconcile. It's just, it's huge. They've been out about 5 years now, so a lot of the, first glitches stuff that they had in the system have already been ironed out. The village is getting them next year also, and there are a lot of other municipalities in Walworth County that already do have them.
We have already done it. Yeah. They've already,
Yep.
these
Yep.
areas.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of, and statewide, there are a lot of communities that have gone into even bigger areas like Sun Prairie and stuff like that, so.
Thank you.
And further comment on the bridge inspections, we're gonna be inspecting Gillow Heights Road and Springersburg Road. Neither one of those bridges have ever been inspected, because they don't meet the state definition of a bridge, 20-foot span, so we're gonna be doing that next year. But we're also gonna be doing some work for sure on Gillow Heights Road, we have some numbers on that already, for next year, especially, truck plating and stuff like that, so. Okay, yeah.
When you guys get around to replacing the bridge by the dockside, is there gonna be public input on the design or style of the bridge? Can we make it look bigger, so down the road we can qualify for some funds?
Yeah, we've asked, Rich to give us a proposal to resubmit the grant application we put in the DIL program, we did not get it, we were unsuccessful. There's two more programs that are just recently announced that are starting up, and, we're gonna submit that same pack, just tweak it to the new program, whatever it is. Submit that, hopefully we can get that, because that's a pretty good sized project there. Yes, the size of the bridge, as we discussed, is that bridge in the last, 60 to 40, I think it's 60 years ago that culvert was put in. It lost 1.5 foot of timbers in it. Combination of the steel plate arch, sinking possibly, but also relaxing the top of the blowers on it, and it's currently posted at least 5 tons. 6 tons. So that's one we're gonna have to, address it pretty soon, that includes the road.
When they designed that bridge, doesn't the 2035 land use plan say it's supposed to have, water and sewer on East Shore Road, is that true?
No,
or not true?
the land use plan doesn't say that. The land use plan says is that the town would be open to that, if, develop with.
So are they gonna build a raceway in that bridge if you do?
Probably, if that's, if that's what's in there, that's got mentioned, that, plan move it on there by bridge, so, yeah. Yes, Scott?
On the, proposed budget for 2023, the last line of what we discussed, cash balance applied for 2022 was close to the same, we reallocated the cash balance applied of 144,000, and it's just from designated fund to 200,000. For 2023 budget, you're saying cash balance applied of 30,000, kind of move money around and say, okay, that was what was applied, but what does that 312,000, almost $313,000 come from for that cash balance from designated funds? What designated funds is that $313,000 coming from?
It's
And
ARPA
what does that
money,
be applied for?
it's ARPA money, and it's money that was set aside for designated projects.
Which would be, what?
It's in a separate account that we have, but it's designated funds that were set for the town hall building campus.
Campus
For the
improvements?
entire campus improvements.
Which is just about done.
So that's gonna be for the campus, not for the town budgets, road program, and anything else that was designated, that, cause it just said for designated funds, but it didn't give any description of what that was for.
It's just coming from money we have set aside,
From the savings.
like the ARPA money and stuff like that.
Right.
We got two, stipends from ARPA for the funds, weren't they somewhere like 400,000 or 300,000 each?
424 total, I believe.
Right.
24 total?
Yep.
212, like,
Two separate
And
payments.
that went into general funds for infrastructure work?
No,
that's this year.
Well, it actually was, this is one of the handouts in the PowerPoint that was on the website. The bathroom remodel, okay, that 94, that's, out of there. total replacement of all the HVAC in this building, all three systems, both heating and air conditioning, as well as air filtration, with the high efficiency filters for actually less cooling. That's what the system is. We had a staff requital, we had payment for employees that worked through the pandemic. For remote access for these meetings in here, for our camera setup, as well as the town website upgrades, we have 14,000 there. We set aside for beach road repairs that burns over the railroad tracks, 10,000. We're going to be meeting with the railroad museum people soon, again, to discuss that further. We have set aside 100,000 for the police garage office. That's the one thing we talked about actually going on. And then the East Troy Emergency Services District pump tender, it came, I guess, a year early, is that correct? So we had to pay for that, so that was 120,000 on that. So on the 424, we appropriated 400 so far.
Do they put strings on what you can and can't spend that money?
When we first started, it had to be 100% related to COVID, and as the guidance kept rolling out, the rules kept getting looser and looser. It got to the end of it, we said all it has to do is any legitimate town operating company. Okay. So it started out, that's why the bathroom model, because that was definitely, part of COVID, because everything in the bathroom now is touchless, okay, as well as the air purification. HVAC, again, with the filtration system, that was because of that, and then of course the staff as well. The other stuff beyond that came down into a definition of other legitimate town expenses, so that's where that came from. And that actually goes back to the other question somebody said, I think you did, Scott, remember that other designated funds? I believe that ARPA, you said that, that's it, too. ARPA, okay. Yeah.
And I do have one other question, kind of bouncing through some things that kind of jumped out at me. So for the 2023 proposed budget, borrowing request is the Associated Appraisal Consultants. Since we're still 3 years out on property evaluations.
3 years out.
But we cannot be, of course, exceeding that limit, which is noted here.
Right.
But if anyone's paying attention to today's economics and climate, and within the last 2 weeks, they're talking the housing tends to drop from 15 to 20% of current values. Is it prudent to do that now in anticipation that we have an overvalued housing market right now? And in the next 2 to 3 years, it could potentially drop even further, and in which case we'd be paying $15,000 for an evaluation appraisal. That in the next couple of years, we could almost be overvalued, and then the residents of the town coming back like we were in 08 saying, hey, you're overvalued our house, we need a credit. Is that something we should be following on?
That was taken into account, because if we would've went to the full, the full inspection reval, then you're right, that could've been a wasted effort. We went with the interim market update, the 15,000, not the 110,000, just because there is a chance that there will be a correction in the housing market. But by law, we were getting to a point where we didn't wanna get, where they're gonna force us to do that evaluation, because if it gets to that point, the state actually manages that.
And even, we're right now, we're about 30% off of 100% of value. So even if, that will bring us back up to 100% of value. If there's a crash, then we're at 15% off again. We're still gonna be out of whack. That's why we need to come back up to 100%. So.
And I believe the last full reval, 5 to 6 years ago.
2016.
It says we're still 3 years out, so I don't know the rules and regulations.
We are 3 years out of 100% of value. So next year will be our 4th year out. And if the state forces us, they would force a full reval, which would be way more expensive than if our current contractor does it.
And by the time that they do this, there will be some market corrections that will be taken into consideration when they're doing the reval. It's not like it's happening tomorrow.
I'm just looking out for a future
Yeah.
battle.
Yeah.
That's all. It jumped out at me, spending $15,000 now and have a future battle a year from now is what I'm looking at.
That was one of the reasons why we went for that.
Very good, thank you.
The only other thing I wanted to point out, Joe, is there was a sample tax bill that I gave. It's actually someone's real tax bill. I whited out all the information, but I wanted to point out that this particular property is valued at $313,000, so I took kind of an average property value. And you'll notice that the town of East First portion is only $728.77 of that full $4,900
So
tax
about
bill.
14.5% in this example
Yes.
is town, the rest is others.
And for that 14%, you get your fire, your rescue, your police services, and your roads plowed, maintained, and you get to vote here. So,
And,
that's not including, yeah.
and your, research on how Waller County and Gateway and I believe the school, you had mentioned,
Yeah, I've done some preliminary calculations, and our property tax values for 2023 are going down. The county portion is going down 16 cents, which negates the increase of 16% that the county is. And then the school district, if you're in the East Shore School District, because we have East Shore and Quantico, Burlington school districts in the town, the East Shore School District is going down 40%. Like I say, I can't give you a final mill rate because I do not have that, school levy tax credit yet. That I will get on Friday.
Did you say 40% on the East Troy schools?
40 cents per thousand G.
Okay, thank you.
The Lake District had a minor, Lake Beulah had a minor increase of 3%. Gateway had a decrease of 2%, or 2 cents, I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong. Lake Beulah Management District has a 3% per thousand decrease.
3 cents,
3 cents,
not percent.
not percent. Gateway is going down 2 cents. Lakeland School District is going down 4 cents. So right now I have a net of 46 cents, although I don't, 46 cent decrease. But like I said, I don't have a school levy tax credit yet.
so that's good news. Good news. Okay, any, yeah,
You missed me on the Badger Book thing. I was told that you need a server terminal.
One of the Badger Book tablets is the server.
Right. So that means there's only 5 polling stations.
There will be 3 to 4 polling stations and 1 reserve. I mean,
Okay.
there's one for, we're gonna have one, we'll have like 3 generally for checking in and regular voters. We'll have 1 for new registrations because it takes a little bit longer. However, the Badger Book includes a scanner which will download your DL and your expiration date, so that all downloads into the system, which is very nice. It's an accuracy thing. And then 1 is a server, and then the other one will be for absentee. But that one that's not being used for registration and not being for absentee, those can also be used to be checking in. So potentially, we could have 5 going, which would greatly speed up.
I was told that the recommendation was 1 station per
700 voters.
700.
Correct.
So that's 3,500?
We have 3,000 voters.
Oh, I thought we had 4,500.
That's
No.
residents.
We have
That's
4
residents.
We have 4,020 residents. We have, before election day, we had exactly 3,000 registered voters,
Wow,
so.
okay.
Any voters in the cemetery?
No, absolutely, unless they died between Friday when I printed the poll book and Tuesday and nobody told me,
That's
nobody
probably
dead voted.
Favorite time.
I have a question just on the borrowing request. Is any surplus that we might have in the budget is accounted for against what we wanna borrow? So we're just borrowing what we really need?
we're borrowing what we need. The surplus that we have from this year is part of the cash balance applied.
Okay, any final questions on the 2023 proposed budget?
Yeah, I have one. It's more of a matter of clarification. Under the public safety, so 2022, we did a lot of police outsourcing, I think, to the county. And we're planning in 2023 to be full staff with 6 full-time officers. So, but the 2022, 2023 number is pretty similar. So I'm assuming that you're planning, when you're at full staff, it'll be roughly the same price, cost, as using current services through all the time.
The budget includes a full staff. The number for 2023 for the police department includes a full staff of 6 officers,
Right.
which is 3 shifts,
But it's very similar to the numbers for 2022 where you use.
Cause there was expectation of full
That's
staff
what
at
I'm
that time too.
There was also expectation of full staffing.
Oh, okay.
So we are under budget for 2022.
Absolutely.
Okay. You do a variance report also, a budget versus actual?
I do, and it's given to the board quarterly.
Okay. But it's not reflected annually, it's like today.
That's part of the budget, the audit it shows a comparison,
Okay.
and it's in the budget
That
document.
would be great for the residents too. And then one final one, under fire protection and ambulance, it looks like the numbers were kind of split for 2023, maybe I missed that. I understand from previous meetings that the EMT ambulance costs have been quite a bit higher in the last year at least. So, but why are they kind of transposed here? You know, fire versus ambulance.
Because the ambulance requires us to have a full-time staff. We are running, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and by June of next year, we are hoping to go to a paramedic on each shift. That requires additional staffing as well.
Okay. So the budget for ambulance will double, and the fire, it looks like it's almost cut in half.
The services are not being cut. We do not have as many fire calls, thankfully, but we have a rising number of EMS calls. The calls to date are running, we're projecting to finish December with 1,000 calls per year. A year ago, we were at 800. The year before, we were at 700. So we have jumped 300 calls in just 1 year. That is a tremendous amount of personnel. We are running almost 3 ambulances. It requires a lot more medical supplies, O2. All of those numbers are beyond what we expected.
What is the theory behind that increase?
We have an aging population.
COVID.
And most of these. I would hope that we are providing the best service possible. There are still things that we could do with more personnel and
This has to do with the police budget. Since September 1st of this year, we have approximately, the president, about 48 calls of service that the sheriff's department came down here to prepare for us. Well, that's the highest in the whole county. Are we required to pay the sheriffs for coming down here and covering our police department?
I've never seen a bill.
No.
So they haven't been charging us for it?
No.
Thanks.
Does anybody get charged for the ambulance calls?
yeah, okay. My foreign exchange been passed out at school. It was a $1,500 bill. I went to Sweden to collect that money. so even,
So even at every call, somebody's getting charged, if they come to my house, the insurance or something's paying.
everybody gets billed, because once we roll, we have gas, we have personnel, there is insurance, there is workman's comp, there are supplies that I use.
Yes. Okay.
So, yeah, everybody gets billed, and so far I think we can run it
Good.
Is it aging population the only trend you're seeing there, or is there other areas where we're seeing an increase, or a certain time of year where we're seeing an increase in costs?
During the summer, there is an increase because there are a greater number of people here. We noticed that there were a lot more car crashes this summer than there were, previous years. What accounts for that outside of more people, I don't know. We haven't found an analytical trend to that. We do look at, different factors, age of the driver, we look at weather conditions. We actually look at, certain places where the accident occurred to see if there is something road-wise, or we know that the sun on Jay is a significant problem. It's a clean intersection, but we seem to have a lot of crashes at Jay and, Online, or Jay at, is it East? But outside of the sun, I can't tell you why we're doing that, but we have looked at that. Yep.
Sure.
So you were saying that you collect revenue for your calls from the insurance company. What revenue line is it on the budget?
That's a fire. That's a budget, but it's not in the budget, it's not in the town budget. And I don't have the fire.
Why is the expense recognized here, but not the revenue?
Because we are one municipality that is part of the district. The district is made up of the town of East Troy, the village of East Troy, and the town of Spring Prairie. We cover a certain percentage of the town of Spring Prairie, not the whole thing. The, budget is determined by property values, it's determined by number of people, it's determined by, calls of service. So once that formula is put together, that determines how much each municipality pays. The town of East Troy pays 2/3 of the EPA ESD budget. The village pays, what is it? 2/3, roughly a quarter, and then Spring Prairie pays a quarter. We have the biggest area and the property values are greatest.
All right, any last questions on the budget?
I got a question.
Good.
Barb, does, Alpine Valley put a big strain on our limbs?
No, Alpine Valley is actually in the town of Lafayette, which it might put a strain on them. However, we are working, our new fire chief, Chief Joe DeGaro, has gone to a contract service with Alpine Valley so that we are charging that entity different than what we charge a municipality.
So we do service them via contract?
We service live nation, we service the concert venue, we service the golf course, we service the there are 2 different music event venues and a golf course that we service. The Ski Hill, I do not believe we have secured a contract with. I am not sure how they will,
So we actually generate revenue from that, or are we breaking even at?
absolutely, that is the number one goal, is to make money from those calls. Because that is a drain for the town of Lafayette. And the town of Lafayette is shouldering that, the Alpine Valley people, which is tremendous.
I remember we bought an extra ambulance to help cover it.
Well, that ambulance is a contract, it allows us to provide EMS coverage at, like, the concerts or the events that are held down there, without taking away service to our residents in is doing that. But there are times that we have actually run ambulances through our municipal area. We also contract with the town of Troy and the town of Lafayette. They are not members of the district, but we contract. Lafayette, we provide fire and EMS. The town of Troy, we provide ambulance.
Okay, we, move on, I think we love asking all the questions here. It's very very people. Okay, I'm gonna call the special meeting of the electors to order. This is, actually your meeting, I moderate it. And we have an agenda, on it, items 2 through 6. First one is, a motion to approve the 2023 sanitary district 3 budget. And the board, John Board, we're the commissioners for that sanitary district, but the residents of sanitary district 3 can also vote on this budget. Is there anybody here from Beulah State here that has water billed to them? Water, maybe, water, not doing well, so there's nobody here, so this vote too would be just by board here, as far as so we need a motion to approve that.
I move that we approve the 2023 sanitary district 3 budget as presented.
We have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. 5-0. Okay, motion to approve the landfill budget. There's some discussion on that. The budget is the one for the 27,200. So, we need this is most that comes from anybody here, which is the meeting of the electors, so we need a motion to approve the 2023 landfill budget.
So I move to, whichever.
Can we make that first?
I move to approve the landfill budget.
Who did the first and who did the second, please?
Okay.
Pam?
Hold on.
Yeah, thank you.
And we second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the landfill budget. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay, motion to adopt the 2022 tax levy to be paid in 2023. Again, the wording is important here. This is the electors get to approve the levy. We already discussed the budget. So, and again, we're under levy limit, so this number is already, the number we came up with is required by law. We ain't over it, and we ain't under it. So, we'll need a motion to approve the levy. Motion to, adopt the 2022 tax levy to be paid in 2023. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman, to adopt the 2022 tax levy to be paid in 2023.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Barb Church, second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay, item number 5, per section, and I'm gonna give a little intro to this, get everybody caught up on this. This is the one here, where the town electors, are the one people that can authorize us to go to the building. We have a police garage that also has, other uses that come out the outgrowth of it, so we'll give you a little review here to make sure everybody knows where we're at. Back in, March of 2019, the, town paid for a needs assessment of this entire facility, whole campus, and, they documented that for the town our size and the operations that we have to take care of, 17,800 square feet. After we had open house here, that number got reduced to 16,000 square feet. Okay, so a new town hall. Electors approved it, and then they rescinded it, so the town hall is gone, far as the new town hall. So it's not the 16,000, our existing building that we're in here is 5,500 square feet. 1,000 feet of it is in the basement, 1,000 square feet, okay, which still floods occasionally, by the way. So, everything's been taken care of previously. You heard about the town hall improvements. We give up $384,000 of improvements that had to be done because of the age of building. Most of this building, a lot of this building is 100 and 120 years old, okay? So, what was done here, and you heard me mention a lot of the things here, the bathrooms, making ADA compliant, and also, COVID safe. AV equipment for the courtroom. New roof on the salt shed. Bathroom remodeled, and that new well. Our well is young, so we got a new well. Water softener, protect all of our fixtures in here. Replaced all of the furnaces, air conditioners, and came up with a commercial size humidifier for the basement. We had a wall coming in the basement, fixed that, got rid of the asbestos, got rid of the mold. Security system all around the whole campus here to make sure we have this place under surveillance. Carpeting, if you're on here and what you walked in on, as well as the offices in back, ductly organization stuff for Kim's office and also then for Jean's office. Also outside lighting. So all that work was done, none of that did anything with the space. And we heard from most people saying, yeah, you gotta do something. Well, as frugal as the town ends up always being, we're to that point now where, as an outgrowth of work done by the DPW and the police department, we had in our budget for the town hall campus, 2 line items that why do it that way? Why not put the money into a building? Because it's not, the best way to do it. Let's do it the right way. So of that, we had, under the town hall improvements, we had $35,000, for security and safety, that's police equipment in the garage. And then we had $95,000 to convert cold to warm storage. That's where the police cars are now, that have come back to DPW, so they have some warm storage. So this project, originally, with the information we had at the annual meeting in April, was preliminary sketches and estimates. We thought we did a good job of it. $182,000 was the estimate, and by the vote of 57 to 17, the electors said, proceed. So the first thing we did was hire Kehoe Henry. Most of you people might have heard of them out of Elkhorn. Dan Kehoe, we hired him. Say, okay, here's what we got. Here's the plans we got generated so far. Put us on the right track to get this thing going. So we paid for him to do that study, that detailed estimate. And Dan Kehoe, by the way, 53 years of being an architect. So yes, you can classify him as an expert. Okay. And he came up with the floor plan. It's in that packet everybody got to see. And say, here's the floor plan. Don't have any offices upstairs. Yes, you can do it. Just have storage up there. So the building size, and you'll see in this presentation, went from a 36 by 40 foot to a 36 by 50. So then all the offices are on the ground floor. Okay. So with that, again, this was a handout here for the early voting, for the voting last Tuesday. It's on our website. I don't know how many hits we got on it. Is there a way to track that?
A lot of them were repeats, so it's hard to say.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So are we able to, remember?
No.
Or you don't have this on there? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody familiar? Again, we were out there. It's a PowerPoint presentation that says, here's where we're at, here's why we want to do it, and whatever. So, again, the original estimate we had was a 36 by 40, now it's 36 by 50. Okay. We only had one window before, and now we got several, we have 2 overhead doors now instead of 1. We also had full plumbing in there, changed our electric from 60 amp to 100 amp, and made sure that all of the walls, all of the drywall, all of the facilities that have to go in there are included in that. So we spent a good deal of time with P.O. Henry, and he said 400 to 500, and that letter was also in that PowerPoint. So anyway, why did they change? Well, we increased the town DPW and police equipment. There was a change in that. The equipment storage, we repeated that. It's all going to be upstairs, or we'll hopefully get it out of the page here. Liability to have equipment stored in tight quarters. As you've seen in the police garage, they're basically climbing over equipment to get around in there. And then the need for police administrative office space allows 2 things within this building. 1, get the building inspector out of here. That's no good. And then our clerk of court, Jennifer Olson, her office is in the judge's chamber. Anybody think that's a good idea? Okay. So those 2 offices where the police would vacate, the 2 closets as we call them, would vacate, there would be those 2 offices for the people here. That takes care of the needs in here. Getting the police cars out of the DPW garage, that takes care of the needs for space for the DPW. And then the police department will have the garage and their offices combined. There will be additional storage upstairs, but there's also the evidence room and the dining room. So this project takes care of all of those. And again, when we went through this, you can see all the equipment in the garage. And matter of fact, I think, Joe, you may have been the only one to take a tour. Anybody else come take a tour? No. Nobody else? And you went through all the buildings.
Hey, Joel, for a second, if they'd like, seeing how we got snow coming tomorrow, if anybody wants to take a walk out there now, this is what we have to deal with for the next 4 or 5 months on our garage, is walking over everything.
So again, the current garage does not allow, our DPW to move safely through that garage. That's an issue for us.
Not
See-
including hitting the water line when something was in the park. That had to be replaced.
And again, it's all there. And we think, again, this PowerPoint was put together by the board and all the staff that works here. And everybody had a kick at it, had input on it, totally. So this is not mine, this is really mostly the communication committee and Jennifer. So anyway, the equipment needs to be protected against the elements. That includes our police vehicle, tight quarters, and the police department. We have 3 active squad vehicles in there, and 1 training boat car. Again, the question is, well, we see other people starting this stuff outside. It's like, yeah, you want to get a call and go out there when they get an ice storm going on or snow melting on a vehicle, and take time to clean the vehicle off, and then be late to an emergency. Makes no sense at all. So that's another reason for it. And then again, they're ready to go. They're ready to go, and then vandalism, we get rid of that.
It also protects the electronic equipment that is housed in each vehicle. That equipment is very temperature sensitive, and that affects the longevity and the effectiveness of each electrical piece in the squad cars, as well as DPW.
And again, in the PowerPoint in the handout online, wherever you found it, it basically shows, where the garage is and where the offices are, a locker room and a shower. You don't have a shower on here, either DPW or Patrol Police, you get an incident there with body fluids, blood, whatever. What, in the moment? No, you do that shower here. So anyway, I hope everybody had a chance to go through that, and we did put in, in the presentation there, showing where the money comes from. None of this is in the budget. It's not in the budget. The money, the $135,000 thousand is already in the town hall improvement fund, we're not doing it the way it was gonna be, we're gonna do it better, put it into that building. The ARPA fund, we have 100,000 there, and then we transfer to the landfill fund, which is for this, basically for purposes just like this, for use of the whole town. So, that's where we're at, and, again, this started, and I don't know how many times, Todd had to mention it at me, how did this thing start up? Well, it started up with a brainstorm with Todd and his guy, and the police guys looking at it and saying, there's a better way to skin this cat, okay? Let's not put the money, you know, in that old building, put it in here, and take the police cars out of there, there's his worm storage. Situation solved there, situation solved in this building, okay? And, again, this project, 40 years ago, actually more like 33 years ago, Jim Sturgis said, that's where we should build that building, that's exactly what we're doing now. But it's 33 years later also. So with that, opens up the discussion. And
Need a
then,
motion.
we know this is at a vote, so discussion,
Need a motion.
wait a minute, before we discuss, you're right. All right,
I'll make that motion.
Pat, on it?
Because this requires special elector approval, I'm gonna read the exact language that you have in the agenda here so we can start discussion. I move that pursuant to section 60.10 sub 2F, that the town authorize the town board to increase the amount spent on the previously authorized police garage from $200,000 to $500,000 to meet the needs of the town, DPW, police department, and administrative offices.
I'll second that motion. Okay, now we can have discussion, so. Now,
And I apologize, because I did not see the pamphlet for the spending, so hearing what you said, Joe, this will not affect the town levy, this is actually going to be 100% funded based on the budgets that we have, either on the landfill budget that we have for needs like this, or for monies already set aside that's included in this levy, so there will not be another increase
no.
based on the 8 to 12% already noted here. And it will be taking care of the town's needs as we see fit.
This would be a 25-year solution at least. The previous, you know, the new building totally, that'd be a 75-year solution. So that one was 3.3 million, and this one here would be, if you say it's at the top end, the 500, would be about 900,000 for a 25-year fix. Versus 3.3 for a 75-year fix.
So, to dispute any conversations of this is gonna cost the town a bunch of extra money, we actually have the money set aside in emergency day funds and things needed to facilitate what is required to give us the town's needs that we, you know, are expecting as taxpayers, to move forward.
Yes.
So I think it mentions that like approximately $270,000 would come from the landfill funds, which we approved that budget today, and it did not include the $270,000 because we hadn't voted on it. So then we would need to modify the landfill budget once we, use those, in order to utilize those funds.
Yes, correct. Okay, discussion. Yes, sir.
I run a large commercial general contracting business in Chicago, and I've been following this issue, for the last year. The need has clearly been demonstrated and is obvious from the discussion and observation. The current environment we're in is schedule delays because of supply chain issues and rampant inflation. So what we counsel our clients in times like this, waiting is not a good strategy. The sooner you start a project like this, the sooner you can mitigate those schedule issues and mitigate the cost increases. So I support this project.
So, tagging on to that, I've got it at $278 per square foot. Is that in line with your experience?
Yeah, I would call this, like a mixed-use project. The average residential, project is, you know, probably in the low 200s, but when you get more, complexity in the different uses, you know, I've seen municipal, you know, firehouses, police stations costing, in excess of 300, sometimes $400 a square foot, depending on how much equipment is in there.
And are there any plans to get another number besides Keyhole?
Oh,
Or is that just a?
that was who we hired to,
That
be
was
honest.
bid out and awarded to Keeple.
Well,
Yes, it was.
what are you talking about?
The architectural services for the police garage were bid
Okay.
out and awarded to Keeple.
But like the actual project would go through a new RFP process. And I think traditionally the town hires a consultant to manage the actual
And then
RFP
we
process.
already did that with Keeple.
And then what was the start date you think, or plan?
That's open, and it depends upon what happens here tonight. What we got was expert advice from Keo Henry that said, this is about what it's gonna cost, this is what it should look like to meet all your needs, and, you know, we'll proceed with plan, spec, whatever, you know, whatever you direct us. So, and as far as the question, you know, what we would do with that, we certainly could put that out to more than just Keo Henry. But we work with probably 3 different ones, and, you know, you take your chances there too, you know.
You had mentioned that the budget from Keyhole was between 400 and 500, so I can then, let's always shoot for the high number, because everyone wants to hear the low number. But does that 400 to 500 include any interior renovations required in the town hall? And does it include any renovations required to assist with Todd's DPW? Or is that potentially above and beyond the budget that was proposed?
There's gonna be no renovations for what we're doing here, and whatever there would be, Todd would probably do, moving from office to office.
So we're not doing any
No,
interior
in the garage.
renovations in the other building, knocking that wall
Yeah.
down, making that more.
That would be up to Todd, whatever is there.
I'm just trying to mitigate any potential future
No.
ads beyond the potential budget that was already given.
John?
When you guys looked at the layout and design of the new police building, you mentioned earlier that there's gonna be a locker room in there?
Yes.
Is there gonna be 1 locker room or 2 locker rooms?
It's gonna be 1 locker room and 1 shower. Okay.
Unisex.
Is that gonna be male or female? or
No,
both?
it's unisex,
We both.
like it currently
Just like
is
it is
in this
now.
building. Simple fact.
We had a discussion with that with the architect, too. He said, you can do it, you would not, he said,
Well, we don't have female officers at this point here.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
we do. We're back to this.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, and, after discussing that, you know, with the police and the architect, we didn't really see that was not an issue, you know. And furthermore, you know, you talk about this as 25-year plan, we're at 6 officers, if we ever get to 8, which is not likely in the short term here, that, this would also cover that, but still, just the 3 shifts, you know. There's not gonna be a change there.
I just want to ask you, just to clarify for me, Keyhole is the design service for the,
The architectural firm,
so, but once, and that's all been gone through, so now where it can be let out to the
No,
independent
no.
general contractors?
no,
Bid on it?
all we got is advice from him so far. If this goes forward, then we'd have to hire a firm to design, and we'd have them also manage it. I manage the bathroom ones, as all of the owners rec, rather than pay, you know, the architect, and that would keep with that one too. This one here, I'm not gonna do the other on it. Okay.
But we have to have full specs developed with what we have today.
Regular
Doesn't
bid job.
specify, you know, the insulation, electrical, all that kind of stuff, the footings,
No basement, slab on grade.
What did Keyhole exactly do then? I mean, don't get me wrong.
They did an estimate.
It's a
cost estimate, cost estimate of what it's gonna take, so that we're not spending a ton of money before we get the okay to do this.
We hired a principal to give us advice on how to get from where we were in April to today. And that included an estimate.
Don't they advise us on what was acceptable for code?
Make sure we do something there. Yes.
If anybody's ever moved, you know how time consuming that is, and it can be expensive, although you're just moving next door. A lot of these things are just moving in little places, but still there's time packing and moving and reconnecting computers and all sorts of things. Will the departments that are involved have to work overtime to do all this? You're gonna want maybe volunteers to help haul things out of the basement here and move them there, or how's all of that gonna get handled with the staff?
Well, if you've seen what the police are working on it, that won't take too long to move that. Okay, so there's not much time there. New equipment, they bring that in first to be assembled, but a lot of this work would be DPW. We may even need an order, have chicken in there. It could be the office staff, it could be anybody,
Yeah, I have to say, our DPW does an amazing job, like, there are just little things, like, we didn't have a light on our flagpole, and that was done immediately, as soon as we mentioned it, by the DPW staff.
They did all the painting.
A security light, yeah,
They paint in this room.
They do.
they're
so
very
much.
accommodating.
We don't hire out like the village does.
Yes.
During construction, it seemed like things got hurt from what was done.
No, it's a new building, so no change.
Okay, so it's all, like,
Yep.
I haven't seen them.
Nothing would move until after the. Okay, we have a request for a call for a question. Okay. Great. All right, one last question.
We're not gonna have any prisoner facilities in it.
No, I don't ever start
It
that.
is not open to the
No
public in any
prison,
way.
No jail, no nothing. Yeah, no jail.
Clarification, this is not a building that is open to the public. Any interviews, witness interviews and things like that will be done in the current squad room. It is not a building that will be accessible to the public.
We had 3 people sign in after we came into the room. If you have not signed in and would like to vote on this issue, you need to come here, sign in, and receive a ballot. Right now.
Does everybody have a ballot who signed in?
Andy Lanham and Debbie and Bob Jensen need to come get ballots.
And anyone else that has not signed in yet. Thank you. Everyone else, you can mark your ballots and we'll come around and collect them. Don't be stealing around. I won't be able to find him. I won't be able to see him out there anywhere.
Do you want it there? Yes. The bucket?
No, I'm going to walk around. We walk around and collect them. I'm gonna walk through. Unless you're wanting to leave right away. Okay.
Does everybody have a ballot?
Yeah, everybody has a
All right, so you should have a ballot. It's pretty easy. The motion is on your agenda. No. Simple, yes, no. Go ahead.
Why are you doing that?
It did Friday.
Anybody else have a ballot?
It did Friday.
All right.
It turned right on. It's right here.
The hard thing is when you have to go through and qualify the residents. Yeah. But some of the people that signed in are not residents. Usually probably do this, because I don't know.
Can I just say while we're waiting, thank you to everyone who attended and came. That is really important to me as a representative of the town to make sure that we have your input and that there is increased transparency. So please know that your attendance and your time is appreciated. And I think it's important to continue in the same manner with important public input and participation. So thank you.
Visit our website, it's totally different, and we have a lot of information, real information. You all set?
Yeah. We had a total of 52 eligible residents vote. We had 41 yes and 10 no.
Okay. We're good to proceed. And we're also looking at the bidding environment, too, timing wise.
41 to 10.
41 to 10.
There was one eligible voter that could not find their ballot.
Okay.
How many did claim the ballots?
One.
One no vote.
No, 11.
10 no votes.
10 no votes.
41 yes.
So what's the total attendance there?
Total attendance currently,
I meant non-residents though.
right, there were 52 eligible voters.
Okay, we have to, need, we need a motion to adjourn the meeting of the electors. Need a motion to approve the adjourn. Ben, who has moved to adjourn the special meeting electors? Doug Trump second, all in favor say aye. All right, I'll call the, town board to order here. We have a special meeting here to adopt this budget. So we are in order. Full board is in attendance here. We need a motion to adopt the 2023 Sanitary District Number 3 budget.
I move that we adopt the sanitary district 3 2023 budget as presented.
I'll second.
Michelle, second. Okay, on the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, 5-0. Motion landfill budget.
I move we adopt the 2023 landfill budget as presented and voted on.
Second.
Church, second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. All right. 4. I'll make a motion to approve and adopt the 2023 Town of East Troy budget.
I'll second.
Michelle, second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. 5-0. All right, now we have a resolution.
Would you like me to read that, sir?
Who's gonna read it? Go ahead, Kim.
A resolution appropriating and levying the necessary funds for the operation of the government and administration of the town of East Troy for the fiscal year 2023. Whereas the electors of the town of East Troy, Wallace County, Wisconsin, having received notice of the public budget hearing and meeting in special session, together with the town board of supervisors, do ordain and approve the following funds for the operation of the government and the administration of the town of East Troy for the fiscal year 2023. General government, $788,157. Public safety, $1,325,030. Public works, $1,707,359. Culture, recreation, and education, $63,939. Conservation and development, $4,110. Debt service, $579,735. For a total budget of $4,468,330. Further be it hereby resolved, 1, that there is hereby levied a tax of $1,896,537 upon all the taxable property within the town of East Troy, Walworth County, Wisconsin, as returned by the town assessor for the uses and purposes set forth in said budget. And 2, the town of East Troy clerk treasurer is hereby authorized and directed to spend said tax upon the current tax roll to the town of East Troy, Walworth County, Wisconsin, dated this 14th day of November, 2022.
And public safety, make sure the comma there.
Yeah, I'd say that.
And then also, debt service, just a comma.
Oh.
Okay, we need a motion to approve this.
I make a motion that we approve the resolution number 2022-11, a resolution appropriating and levying the necessary funds for the operation of the government and administration of the town of East Troy for the fiscal year 2023.
Second. All right, we have a motion by Barb, second by Bill, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None. Report is 5-0.
I make a motion to close the special meeting of the town board.
Second.
Second.
Barb Church, second. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. 5-0. Okay, Okay, maybe a break before we start our regular meeting?
Please.
5 minutes. Do this at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.